Hi, my name is Sato Fujiwara. I'm happy to have this opportunity to introduce the latest trends in education technology in Japan. In this session, the wonderful panelists are here to talk about their online STEAM education. The main theme of this session is how we can foster competency through online education. We're going to discuss how we can enhance self-esteem, motivation, and enjoyment of learning through digital platforms. First, I'd like to give you a little background on this session. STEAM is a keyword for educational reform in Japan. Elements of STEAM are installed in the new national curriculum since 2020. For example, inquiry-based study of science and mathematics and inquiry-based cross-disciplinary study are implemented in all high schools authorized by the Japanese government. From my experience both in the US and Japan, I think that some online education platforms in Japan excels well in competency development. This is my hypothesis, but the thing is, I think that innovators who strive to change the school environment used to be kids who felt oppressed by the restricting traditional education environment. People like this are very successful in increasing curiosity, self-affirmation, and motivation to learn through their services. They are from private sector, but they are not only making money, but also are contributing to society and public education. I'm very much looking forward to talking with these innovators today. So let me introduce myself a bit. I founded an educational NPO, Kodai no Nai Gakko, in 2014. My team and I engaged in teacher education. We started a new project in the field of special education for kids with severe disabilities last year. From 2014 to 2017, I lived in a town in Houston, Texas, and my daughter went to a public elementary school there. As you can see in the picture, I participated in the session, Japan's EdTech to the World, at South by Southwest EDU in 2016. Though online, I'm thrilled to be able to come back to South by Southwest. And my mission is Inquiry for All, and the NPO provides long-term intensive training for public and private teachers and school teachers. We also collaborate with leading educators, researchers, and professors inside and outside of Japan to expand the community. In 2018, when I returned from the US, I had the chance to collaborate with the Graduate School of Education at High-Tech High in San Diego, California. We brought High-Tech High's teacher training for the Japanese teachers with support of the Japanese government, Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. The photo below right was taken with Larry Rosenstock, the founder of High-Tech High. The photo at the bottom middle is with the team from the MIT Media Lab. We had creative learning workshop for Japanese educators in 2019. Okay, now I'm happy to introduce the panelists. First, Ian. He's the navigator of Inspire High. It's a popular platform that provides opportunities for students to meet with inspiring adults from around the world and to hear their values and social issues they engage in. Secondly, Sophia is in the team of Global Business Development for WonderLab, a service that provides online puzzles called Think Think. These puzzles are a lot of fun, and my daughter was really into them when she was in elementary school. Please look forward to her presentation. Finally, Shinji. He used to be an engineer, specializing in data analysis, but is now a magician navigator. He's seeking the ultimate form of learning that combines academics, games, and magic. His hobby is magic tricks, and he loves teaching magic tricks to children. Okay, Ian, can you start with your presentation?
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Ian Shimizu from Inspire High. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity for us to share our service at South by Southwest and representing EdTech in Japan. And without further ado, I'd like to share a brief introduction, a short presentation, and a short video that outlines what we do. So we are called Inspire High, and our tagline is Expand Your Horizons. This is our logo. And what we do in a nutshell is we inspire, we connect preteens and teenage youth to the world's leading creative minds. And I want to briefly summarize our service in 3 points. So point 1 is that it's for preteens and teenage youth. We are focused on this age range because this is what is called the springtime of development, when the youth are undergoing tremendous change in their in who they are, and providing positive inspiration at this period of their lifetime has a great positive impact on their future outlook. Point 2, we invite global professionals as guides, all sorts of different people from all different walks of life, and I'll share a little bit more in detail about this later. Point 3 is our service is focused on exploring the why behind the what. We do not talk about how. So we're not about how to play the piano or how to code. We share what our guides do and why they do that, why they're motivated to do that. And we do this because we believe it's extremely important in the landscape, the global landscape of today, that we are sharing ways in which people are motivated to do things in this world, because we believe motivation is the #1 most important thing to create a better world for everybody. So a little bit more in detail about how our service is structured. So it starts with a 20-minute video where people can hear the stories of the different guides, which is followed by an output where there's a creative prompt given to the user who puts their knowledge into practice. So they've learned in the first 20 minutes, they're now exercising that knowledge. And at the end, they're also given time to provide feedback to each other and reflect on what they just learned. And this is the curriculum that we build, which is then implemented in the school space. So students from all different walks of life across Japan currently can experience this curriculum. We've had many different sessions with many different guides. I'll just share the top 2 that you can see on the left hand. We've explored the theme of how can we change the world with Digital Minister of Taiwan, Audrey Tang. And we've explored the theme of what is identity with Emmanuel Mankura, who is a Maasai tribe elder from Kenya, and many different people. We've had fisherwomen, we've had psychologists, we've had comedians, we've had artists, we've had rappers, we've had social entrepreneurs, where we explore together different themes. And a little bit about what the experience is like from the perspective of the students. So we've seen that they find our sessions interesting, that it has become a positive opportunity for them to reevaluate what they might want to do in the future. And generally, they feel very forward about joining another session afterwards. And this is just a portion of the results that we've been getting from our surveys. But earlier on, I mentioned that motivation is one of the most important aspects which we focus on. And what we've seen through our surveys, which we do on a regular basis after our sessions, is that the students who receive our sessions are very often motivated to either read more and learn more, are motivated to start a student group, are motivated to talk about something with their friends. Generally, they feel an approach motivation to take what they've learned and apply it to something else in their lives. So that's a little bit about what we do, and I'd like to wrap up with a video, which I have right here.
The world is changing because of your participation in this conversation.
So again, what we do is we connect teenage youth to the world's leading creative minds.
意味よりも美しいの方が大事な場合がありますね、詩の場合には。
ただ21世紀の戦争はもうそういう構想にはなっていなくて、
無知っていうものがどれだけ人を追い込むか。
The best thing that I can say and advise is go out there.
And we always follow up with a
Okay,
question.
Isa, are you ready for the Q&A?
Yes, I am.
So we have a question from Urawa Reds. ソルトはすぐに軌道に乗りましたか？軌道に乗るまでの苦労など知りたいです。
Which is followed by an output time where the knowledge is being put into practice.
Okay, Audrey, so today's output, the theme is creating new landscapes.
And it kind of looks like this. It looks a little bit like Instagram almost, where the different prompts are given in this manner and they are submitted by the students.
And then, so from here, we start what is called the feedback time. Do you have any advice?
You just give me that advice and I will repeat. Unmute yourself.
And this is the time where the students are providing feedback to each other's outputs. So there's ample time for peer-to-peer learning because we believe learning from your peers is as important as learning from the guide. And so that's what we do. And we hope to expand the horizons of the students who use our service. And we hope to continue growing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. So, Sophia, can you start your presentation?
Thank you very much, Ian, for the great presentation. And thank you, Ms. Sato, for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia Chin from WonderLab. So, I'm very honored to be invited today to be presenting Japanese leading education technology at South by Southwest. So today I prepared a brief presentation and a short video about my company and our services. So I hope you enjoy it. This is, a brief category of what I will be sharing today. So let's first move forward to a little bit about WonderLab. So WonderLab, like I mentioned earlier, our mission is to bring out a sense of wonder in children around the world. And a little bit about us is that we are a education technology edtech company based in Japan, Tokyo, founded in the year of 2014. We develop educational content and award-winning edtech products such as Think to serve our mission. A little bit about myself. Like I introduced myself earlier, I'm Sophia Chin. I'm originally from China, but I spent a long time in the United States and also lived in different countries across multiple continents. Well, during college, I was dedicated to global education and have always been, actively involved. After I graduated Columbia University, I started my career as a management consultant at Boston Consulting Group, where I had the opportunity to work in Japan and with the Japanese government to develop educational related policies and future talent strategy. And that's also where I came across WonderLab, a great company where I get to, learn more about the services in Japan and learn more about a leading technology here that helps children in Japan with their STEAM and SEL learning. So then I will move forward to introduce a little bit about our product, Think. I would like to first share a product demo video, and then I'll explain a little further.
According to the World Economic Forum, to thrive in the 21st century, students need more than traditional academic learning. Skills such as foundational literacies, including numeracy and science literacy, competencies such as critical thinking, and character qualities such as persistence, curiosity, and adaptability are crucial to students' future success. To cultivate such essential skills in children, we created ThinkThink, a digital learning app with over 120 types, 20,000 mini problem sets, games, and puzzles that develops children's critical thinking skills and non-cognitive skills with STEAM elements included. ThinkThink is developed with the joint effort of experts in K-12 education, critical thinking, UX/UI, and gamification. As a unique digital learning material, ThinkThink currently has over 1.7 million users across 150 countries. It has received numerous accolades across the globe and is loved by both teachers and parents.
In 2018, we worked closely with the Cambodian government, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and Keio University to conduct an efficacy research of ThinkThink, covering 1,636 students across a 3-month period. The findings were mind-blowing. Results confirmed that children who used ThinkThink for the 3-month trial period improved significantly on their average scores in math and IQ compared with the control group which did not use ThinkThink. At WonderLab, our mission is to bring out a sense of wonder in children around the world, and we believe that ThinkThink is the best tool that will help them achieve that.
So thank you so much for watching the product demo video with me. And to recap, I would like to briefly introduce ThinkThink again. So as mentioned in the video, it is an educational app that uses puzzles, mazes, and mini games to foster children's critical thinking and non-cognitive skills. So we have a school edition and a home edition. So school edition is for educators and administrators so they can use at schools. And home edition is for parents. And parents can easily give ThinkThink, provide ThinkThink on tablets or iPads to their children without a lot of instructions, and students can learn by themselves. So like mentioned earlier, we currently have over 1.7 million users across 150 countries. And actually, I would like to update the number a little bit. As I'm talking right now, our number has already increased to 2 million users. So it's another milestone for us. So we have over 2 million users across 150 countries now. So in addition to that, we have, I'd like to talk a little bit about the effectiveness of ThinkThink. So we focus on cultivating 5 areas of critical thinking skills for children, from trial and error, spatial awareness, shape comprehension, logical thinking, and numerical processing. Many of the skill sets are really hard to, actually very hard for teachers to teach or for parents to teach at schools. And ThinkThink made it way easier for parents and teachers to use a interactive tool for them to learn, and also in a fun way, at school or at home. So when using ThinkThink, they wouldn't feel like they're studying at all. It's actually they feel like they're playing, because one of our philosophy is that children should learn and grow through playing. I would also like to cover some non-cognitive skills that we aim to cultivate within children, which are confidence, perseverance, which is also called grit, curiosity, adaptability, and creativity. So like mentioned in the video, we have previously done a research in Cambodia with the Cambodian government, and also we work closely with a renowned university called Keio University in Japan, and also JICA, the Japan International Cooperation Agency. So based on the research, like we mentioned earlier, it is effective on children's academic performance, IQ, and also their non-cognitive skills. And based on the research, we can prove that it is effective for everyone, regardless of their gender, grade, and parental education. We actually have another research upcoming this year with Johns Hopkins University. And again, we aim to do further research on think's efficacy, focusing on how it can help students improve their STEAM ability, especially focusing on math, critical thinking skills, and their non-cognitive skills. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen in to my presentation. I would like to further introduce our official website. Feel free to check out more information on our website. And also, in the meantime, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact us via the email address listed here. Thank you. And I would like to pass the baton to Shinji, and he will give you a presentation about his product.
Yeah, so let's start. Hello, my name is Shinji from Tankyu, and what we do is actually making game-based learning materials for children. Explain about me. I'm CTO in Tankyu, and actually I have a little bit different background. I used to be a kids magician for 12 years, plus IT engineer. And 2 years ago, actually, I joined the educational area. So my passion is all about infusing entertainment into education. So let me explain what we do as a business. We make a lot of game-based learning game, what we call Gakumon game. Gaku actually is Japanese, and it means academics in English. And Mon is actually English, monster. So we are making many academics monster game. For example, chemistry Gakumon game, immune Gakumon game, economics Gakumon game, and every children can play it, and at the same time, they can learn each academic area. We have already made 24 academic fields game, and today, specifically, I'd like to introduce chemistry game. So this is a chemistry game called Atom Monster, and this can be played offline and online in both, in either way. Playing this game, children can learn how to combine atoms to make water molecules and so on, and the concepts of atoms and molecules. And let me share the scenery, how children are playing the game. And as you can see, there are children from age 5 years old up to 15 years old. So everyone play the game and enjoy the game, and at the same time, learn the chemistry. Let me share the movie a little bit. So, whenever I see this movie and sceneries, it's like I think that this is really a historical moment in chemistry education. I have never seen children learning chemistry in this joyful manner. So, yeah, that's what we are doing, and in many other academic areas too. So this is comments from Atom Monster users. This is funny, so I want to share. The other day, my 6-year-old son farted in front of me and said, sorry for my methane gas. And also, whenever he goes to the bathroom, he says ammonia comes out and so on. So that will be a proof that children is not only playing the game, but they are gaining the knowledge from it. Achievements, actually, we are selling these products in Amazon, Rakuten, in e-commerce, and we have bestseller. And we are also publishing comic books, and we are also offering our products to public schools. This will be the last slide. Our goal is actually to make the world, every adult or every people get a mission and pursue their goal. And to do that, at first we were offering project-based learning, but we realized that, when we asked, okay, what do you want to do? What are you interested in? And the children answers like, I don't know, my mother said I should do chemistry, so why not doing chemistry project and so on. So we had a problem in, we thought children doesn't, have interest in the real world. So we made what we prioritize the first is curiosity to the world. And we want to achieve it through game-based learning, what we call Gakumon game, and make children realize that every academic area deserves to learn, and they are truly fun, and they make your life colorful. And after that, they can go to the project-based learning. So that's my explanation, and I'm looking forward to the talk session starting from now. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And actually, I was surprised when I saw on the panel speakers list because my daughter has experienced all the 3 services, and she enjoyed all of them. And now she is high school student, and she is learning a lot from Inspire High. And on the Thank You online programs, she was very. She had a fun time when she was in the United States, and also think. Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm going to show you the slide again, the question slide. The first question is, which competencies or skills do you think will be the most important in the future? If somebody has some idea, you can start.
Well, I think my last slide mentioned it, so why not starting from me? I think the most important skill in the future will be the curiosity. Technically, curiosity will be is included in non-cognitive skills, but so in that sense, I think within the non-cognitive skills, I think the curiosity is the most important skill because nowadays artificial intelligences are appearing. Many people's work will be replaced by the machines, computers, and so on. And nowadays, new concepts like basic income and so on is appearing. So what that means is that our life will be easier in the future. Then what do we have to do next? Then the most important thing is to find out what you are interested in. And because maybe you don't have to make money at all and you don't have to worry about the money. Then the most important thing is to be curious about everything and the ability to find what you can, be passionate about. So that's why I think the curiosity is the most important skill in the future. In the near future, maybe over 30 years or 40 years later. I'm not sure.
Yeah, thank you, Shinji-san. I think I totally agree with you, and I think you mentioned some great points. Definitely, curiosity is one of the key skills, I would say, or key competencies required for the future. Well, based on my understanding, actually, I'm aware of the OECD competency framework and also the World Economic Forum framework of 21st century skills. And me personally, I think within the frameworks, the non-cognitive skills are definitely crucial in the future. For me, at my company, Wonder Labs Think cultivates critical thinking skills. Based on my previous research and also based on my understanding, I personally believe that with the rapid development of technology, and you can see that our lives have been revolutionized by technology, like having AI, robots. In the future, what differentiates human beings would be our human brains, right? I personally think critical thinking skills is also one of the crucial skills, and also other non-cognitive skills like curiosity, adaptability, communication, collaboration. I think these skills are what makes us, human, and what can help us, create something new and, revolutionize over the overall landscape. And one more thing I'd like to add, what I'd like to add is actually design thinking as well. So I think, having like design thinking, art thinking, like people are able to create new things. And critical thinking is also, the ability that people can identify and, come up with solutions. So yeah, I think these are some of the skill sets that are crucial for the future.
Yeah, thank you everybody for sharing such wisdom. I basically agree with everything that was said. And with a strong focus on curiosity as well. So at Inspire High, we it's in the name, but we regard inspiration as being something that's extremely important. And it's since 2013 that there's been psychological studies around inspiration and exactly what it is. And I think inspiration is an interesting thing where everybody has experienced it. I think everybody on this panel can reflect on moments in their life where they felt inspired. What inspiration is it's actually a state of motivation. So one day you have, boom, a spark, and then you feel motivated to actually put that idea into form, into shape. And I think there's a huge hint there as to what's important for the future. And I think we live in a world where there's so much content, where there's so much going on. I mean, you read the news every day and you're overwhelmed by just the amount of stuff that's happening in this world. And how do you weed out what's important to you, what's important to the world, and so on and so forth? I think it ultimately all comes down to what are you curious of and what can you feel motivated to do? And I think that's kind of the core area that the more we nurture, the more positive change, both at a personal level and at a societal level, we'll be able to see. And in my personal experience, when I'm inspired to do something and when I feel like enacting that, the competencies that are generally mentioned in the OECD framework and other frameworks that I've seen come as a result of your strong drive to attain something. So the more that I'm motivated or compelled to, say I have an idea and I want to bring that into fruition, I realized in that journey that I need to be able to do teamwork. I need to be able to think critically. I need to be able to think interdisciplinary in an interdisciplinary manner. So again, it comes back always to me that the most fundamental thing that's important is that motivation and that curiosity that drives you forward. Because without that drive, people can teach you how to be a critical thinker, and you don't really have anywhere to apply it. So yeah, I do always come back to the curiosity and the motivation part, and that's why we believe inspiration is important, because inspiration is a state of motivation. So the more that we can inspire people, the more people are motivated, and we believe as a result, those competencies will be attained.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Ian, for sharing your thoughts. And I totally agree with the point that you mentioned. Inspiration, it's closely related to motivation, right? And having the motivation, the drive, to learn, to create is crucial to, like, I would say, human being, or especially to children's growth, right? So actually, when WonderLab was started, one of the things that we noticed was that I'm sure it's the same for also like Shinji and you, Ian. Like when you started your companies, you probably noticed that like when children, or when, let's say, teenagers, when they're learning, they're not the exact same like adults, right? Like they might be drawn to what they're interested in by their curiosity, by what motivates them. And so at WonderLab, when we created like Think, actually, we had the main idea. We had the thought of wanting to let kids like play with things And once they are, intrigued by things, once they have, the curiosity and also the motivation to want to learn more, and they're feeling, learning is fun, and also they feel really confident about what they can achieve, then they will open up a whole new world for them, and they're willing to, keep up with things and to continue. And it's way more self-directed. So, motivation, to me personally, I think, it helps with children's self-directed learning, and it's also what we highly encourage at WonderLab. So kids, they're never forced to play at all, and we even put a time limit on the application so they don't overplay it. So yeah, I would say one of the things in our research that we did was also closely related to motivation. After using think, a lot of the students and also children, they mentioned that they have a higher motivation to learn math, to learn STEAM knowledge, and also to be able to want to explore and challenge themselves. So I think it's definitely one of the crucial skill sets to have. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think I really relate to that self-directed part. I think intrinsic motivation is extremely important rather than extrinsic motivation of being told what to do and doing it, but rather thinking, wow, this is something that I'd love to do, and then you doing it, because you actually get to learn so much more when doing so. And around when I was starting Inspire High with the team, that there's a few of us that started together or kind of built the core pedagogy. I was reflecting a lot on when I was a student, and by no means was I a good student. I didn't really like school. I thought it was boring, and so on. I had a lot more fun being goofy in the classroom rather than being that kid in the front row studying. And obviously that's my fault as much as it is the system's result. But anyhow, leaving my personal history aside, what I do remember a lot is that I couldn't feel very curious about what was being taught in the classroom, because at that point in my life, it didn't feel so connected to the real world. So I think oftentimes you hear students in the classroom saying, why should I study math? When are we ever going to use this? And oftentimes you don't, but there are certain careers where you'll be using it every single day. But a lot of the time we have no idea that there are careers like that, which made me realize that there's this rift between the classroom and the millions of walks of life that exist out there, and how there is actually a connection between what we're learning and the real life out there. But we don't feel motivated to learn what's being taught in front of us because we have no idea of what life after all this is about. So what I'm trying to say is that there's no real reason to be curious about what's being taught in the classroom when you don't really know how it's going to be applied. And so what we're really trying to do at Inspire High is also bridge that gap, which essentially is giving people a reason to be curious. So the moment you learn that, oh, there's this person, Audrey Tang, who applied his development and coding knowledge to actually contain the spread of COVID in Taiwan, you suddenly think, whoa, programming and computer science is cool. Maybe I want to do that. I've always been kind of curious. And in order to do that, it helps to learn math. Okay, now math makes sense to me. So it's also that bridge that we're trying to create, so as there is a reason for the students to be curious about what's being taught in front of them. And I think what I love about this panel is that everybody is approaching this question of curiosity from a different angle, with, I think, something that's more fun than just the normal curriculum being taught in schools today. So I personally am taking great inspiration from this panel already.
Yeah, let me tell you my experience as a magician, because as a magician you perform in front of children, then there is no excuse to make children bored. That's, as an entertainer, that's no excuse. But when it comes to the education, it's okay, please study this one, and please be patient with. You can connect with the real world in 10 years or 20 years, but just for now, study chemistry, and the future will come in 10 years and 20 years. And I think this attitude is so arrogant as an educator. I just don't want to make someone bored, make someone lose curiosity to something for the sake of the future. So I mean for the future. So yeah, so that's really my passion, to make interact with the real world at that moment for the children, at this moment for the children. So I really agree with you.
Yes, totally. You see, like Shinji-san, Shinji, you brought up a great point, and I think you mentioned that education should be not only just focusing on the future, but also the present, right? Because one thing is that children, they don't lie about their reactions, right? Like, okay, maybe to some like based on the developmental psychology or development of children, they can start to lie at some point. But if they're genuinely into something, their reactions are real. It's genuine. Like for example, I'm sure like Shinji, your product is like great and also really really fun. And like the video you showed earlier, right? Like children were having so much fun, and it's something you can see. It's tangible. It's actually same for WonderLab. Like at WonderLab, we host bi-weekly classes within our office to give out a thing for children to play for free and to see their reactions. And at WonderLab, like when we develop our product, actually we have this like very I'd say like the product cycle that we're really proud of is that from idea generation to product creation, we make sure that we always work with kids closely to see their reactions and then receive feedback from them, and then we enhance our products. So it's not like adults that are creating products or like interesting content for adults, but it's more like whatever children they want to play, with a touch of what we hope they can acquire, like what kind of skill sets we hope they can acquire for the future. But they have to be able to have fun in the present, right? They have to feel motivated and want to learn. So yeah, I would say this kind of approach is definitely very important, not just for education in Japan, so like for the future, especially what education technology or can bring, and can this can I would say change the overall landscape at scale.
Yeah, it is quite interesting to hear your stories, and it's, I personally think that the education is like everybody is on the journey to know yourself, and everybody wants to know what you like, and everybody wants to know what you value and what you can do, and in that context, and critical thinking and curiosity and inspiration, all very important. And as Piaget, the psychologist, said, that kids see the word and feel the word and inspired by the word, and they're gonna catch those things into and bring into themselves, and they're gonna create themselves. And so it's quite important that the educators has to give such inspiration or experience, and good experience, and at the same time the motivation is very important. But at school, sometimes teachers are failing to do that kind of things, or to stimulate their motivation. What do you think? Do you have any advice to the teachers?
That's a hard one, because I also understand how difficult it is to be teaching the same classroom every single day. And I understand that at a cognitive level, not at the experiential level, but surely it's, you only have so many tricks in your sleeve, and you can't, if the sole goal is entertainment, then sometimes maybe you're missing the mark on certain things. So that's really hard to say, especially because I think the teachers are really doing the hard work that, and we're kind of at that position of like, how can we help to make, to hopefully improve the quality of your work and the quality of the education that you provide in front of that. But some of the things that we try to do from that vantage point is we try to make Inspire High as easy to implement as possible in the school place, because I think there's a huge poverty in time when it comes to teachers, and just the resource of time they have is so limited that we want to make it as easy as possible to implement. So that's why it's tailored so that it's very easy to just put into the classroom. And if you want to use the videos as a standalone and create a classroom around it through your own initiative and through your own structure, you can also do that as well. So a great deal of flexibility, but also there's a structure which we make available for teachers to implement straight away. So yeah, it's very difficult for me to talk about advice, but in the spirit of kind of wanting to help to make the education place as inspiring as possible, we try to lower as much as possible the hurdle of implementation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I really like the idea that Ian mentioned, being able to customize, right? And also allowing, people to, learn individually, right? And also allowing teachers to give that tool to students, and, they can be inspired and they can learn from other people. And I honestly think, from now on, like in the future, in terms of like education, it will become more, or at least I hope it will become more, customized and more tailored to like, based on students' needs. And, one of the things that I think, education technology can do to students or to classrooms, to teachers, is that products that allow people to customize and to tailor like curriculum or to learn by themselves will give so much flexibility. So one thing, like when we created like Think at Wonderlab, is that we created a school edition, right? So we want to make sure that teachers, they have the control that they can use Think in classrooms, and they can monitor, the performances of students and understand how students are progressing. However, students, they can play on their own, can learn by themselves in their own time. So having that flexibility, I think, is great. So I guess in terms of like advice, I want to give, I hope, I'm by no means, I'm not like, a very experienced educator, although I did some curriculum design, some teaching in the past, but I'm sure there are many like other more educated, more experienced educators out there. So I might be able to offer my 2 cents, but I guess my advice is maybe try to look at students in a more individual perspective and try to tailor approaches when teaching them. And one more thing, I guess for me, based on my previous like teaching experience and also like experience as a curriculum designer, I think I would like to actually share an interesting story. Was when I was teaching in a small town near Venice. I used to think like, teachers, they're supposed to teach and pass on knowledge to students. And that was what I thought, but what I learned was that actually one of the students, when I was interacting with him, and he was only like, I think a third grader. I used to think, oh, I'm way more knowledgeable than him and I would be able to teach so much to him. But I was totally wrong, because when I was interacting with him and also the rest of the class, I realized that I'm learning so much from them as well. So, what I learned was that, in teaching or learning education, it shouldn't be one-sided. It should be like, multi-sided or even, interactive. So that's why I think in the future, when I guess hopefully like when teachers are trying to, pass on their knowledge to children, it's not just one-sided. They can think of themselves as like learners as well. They can also learn from students, and also, because everyone is so different, I think individualized learning, like implementing like education technology, will help them and will able to alleviate their burden, like when it comes to individualization, a little bit.
Thank you. Do you have any comments, Shinji?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but I just want to talk from other perspective. I think, let's talk about the Japanese education. Teachers in Japan is doing well because seeing the international scores, Japan is ranked in higher positions. So in terms of cognitive skills, teachers in Japan are doing very, very well. But when it comes to the like motivation and curiosity and so on, there's not so many stats about that. But I found one data saying that Japan is the worst when it comes to whether the children like learning in school. So in that case, Japan ranked the worst. So, to solve this problem, I think, using our product is surely one way, and using, Sophia's product, Ian's product is good. But to do that, I think teacher need more freedom to choose products and materials. But, current Japanese education system doesn't allow that to teachers. Teachers always have to use specified textbooks and so on. So I think that's the problem of a system. Individual teacher actually cannot change a lot. So we have to think about how to change the system itself.
Yeah, I definitely want to add to that. I think, kind of how I think one big shift that we're seeing in this world today is that collaboration is becoming a more key concept wherever you are, whether you're in the government or whether you're an established company or whether you're a startup. This spirit of collaboration and partnership is becoming increasingly important because cross-pollination between different parties, different entities, different organizations, different schools of thought is kind of one of the most important things when thinking about progress. And I think what we're seeing today is that has to be applied to the education place as well. So public schools, which until now I think had a very closed approach of saying, well, no, this is the system, this is the education style, and that's it, are going to have to, in a way of adapting to the demands of the world, open up and implement Think, implement Tankyu, implement Inspire High, since that is really what's going to propel progress in the classroom. And I think that's probably the case anywhere you are in the world, that collaboration between parties like, small organizations like us and the education system at large can work together to really open up and change that system. Although, Shinji, in the case of Japan, I definitely agree with you that the poverty of time and the poverty of resources when it comes to what is at hand for the teachers is a structural issue that needs to be resolved. It's insane and it needs to change now. It needed to change 10 years ago, and it can't go on like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And as as an outsider, well, I was more educated in the United States, but as an outsider, based on my few years of experience working in Japan and also interacting closely with the Japanese education system, I can definitely resonate with what Ian and Shinji just mentioned. I do think teachers should have more freedom to choose the curriculum, or I would say they can have like standards to follow, but I think they should have some freedom to customize or to add more to innovate and add more interesting content to the existing curriculum. Of course, I understand there are challenges. There's like poverty of time, and I do think these are some of the things that's making it difficult. However, I do want to say that in Japan, I'm constantly impressed by how dedicated the teachers are and how dedicated the educators are when it comes to their students. I would say like in Japan, teachers aren't just teaching students. It's almost like they're raising like kids of their own. So I would say I'm quite impressed in that sense. But in terms of a Japanese education system or overall education compared to the rest of the world, I would say a little bit of more flexibility would be very helpful. And also in terms of education technology, right? Like in terms of products like us, I think schools that in Japan, they might be hesitant to implement some of the technologies because they might worry about effectiveness, or they might worry about security issues and all that. I totally understand that sometimes they might be risk averse, but I think some of these risks should be worth taking, and it will definitely I would say overall change the education landscape here in Japan, and will help students broaden their horizon and broaden their ways to learn, so they have more choices to choose how they want to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm in charge of teacher training, and I'm trying to send a message to teachers, like, just enjoy your life. The life is so fun, and the things are happening, amazing things are happening outside of textbooks, and if you're gonna really inspired by those things, you're gonna change. And so I also totally agree with you that the schools should collaborate with outside of school people, and then the curriculum will be good. So maybe we need to finish our conversation, but if you give the audience a word, can you do that? Maybe can you start? Ian, can you start with you?
For sure. So yeah, I think this conversation was great. I think it's really kind of helped me understand where education will start going towards, and I think it's deeper collaboration between existing schools and people who are outside of the conventional education system working hard to and be really good at one element of that education. So I think in our case, that's connecting these inspiring people around the world and plugging them into the school place as to expand the horizons of the students. And Think and Tankyu are approaching different ways of specializing in extremely essential areas of education. And I really look forward to the evolution of education moving forward, where there's deeper collaboration, and ultimately what all of that is working towards is increasing the non-cognitive abilities to the students in a world where those skills are in increasing demand. And that's kind of a very systematic way to put it, but what I really want to say is that the world needs curious and creative people, and we are working really hard to ensure that people have that curiosity and motivation, and that requires collaboration. And I'm hopeful that that's going to happen with great players like Think and Tankyu working on that within the same landscape of Japan. I really enjoyed today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. So can you, Sophia or Shinji, can you talk a little bit?
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. First off, thank you, Ms. Sato, for the great conversation, and also thank you, Ian, for offering your thoughts. So yeah, for me personally, again, it's such an honor to be invited, and I had a great discussion with all of the panelists. And I personally think it's a great learning experience for me as well. Well, if I were to share something with the audience, I would say two things. First thing is that, Japan is changing, and education technology education technology and also edtech companies and players here in Japan, they are really innovating, and there are many interesting players like us. So, at South by Southwest, I really hope, other panels mentioned, we hope to collaborate with more players outside of the schools, outside of our companies, also outside of our country. I really hope that, at least for Wonder Lab, we're currently also expanding overseas. We really hope to have, potential opportunities that we can collaborate with, schools overseas to help more children learn, and help more children, bring out their sense of wonder, and to cultivate critical thinking skills and their non-cognitive skills. So, and I look forward to, receiving feedback from educators overseas and, children overseas to further enhance our product, but also, to make a broader impact on the society. And the second thing I would like to share is actually, I really want to, thank all of the educators that you have put into so much effort, that's life-changing. Me personally, education changed my life. And, I really want to say, thank you to all of you. And I look forward to work with all of the educators or any educator related, obviously, for example, education related, like regardless of their roles. Like I wanted to thank all of them, and I really look forward to working with you to innovate the industry and the landscape. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. It was so honor for me to have a chat here, and it was so stimulating. And the company here, me, Sophia-san, Ian, is doing very, very progressive education service. And I was thinking that at the same time, I really pay respect to the conservative educational service too, because when we think about the education, we also have to, think about the aspect of how we maintain the nation, society, and so on. And in that case, the education system right now is like teaching, cramming the knowledge into children. That's also, maybe necessary, a little bit necessary. So there are many elements in education. So we need to find some holistic optimization, not partly. So I'm doing, I'm just focusing on the curiosity for children, but I really understand there are many aspects we have to take care of in education. So yeah, this session was really good to rethink about, many elements in education. And yeah, thank you very much. It was so fun. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ian, Sophia, and Shinji. I really enjoyed the discussion here. And our talk was, I hope that this talk was meaningful for audience. And thank you very much. So maybe bye-bye here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Really enjoyed this. And thank you for your facilitation, Sato.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.